Hello everyone, this is Palma Weather. In this video, we're going to be updating on the La Palma volcano eruption as well as some September snow. So if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button and notification bell to get all my daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. Good morning everyone, this is September 21st update. I've been getting a lot of comments about my thoughts on the La Palma volcano eruption that happened the other day. This was off, the volcano was located off in Cumbre Vieja. It first erupted back in 1949, it erupted again in 1971, and then 50 years later, it erupted again just the other day, sending molten lava shooting way up in the sky and filtering down and coming down on the mountain. You can actually see some of this lava that actually went through and destroyed homes in its path as it just oozed off the mountain here, obviously creating a lot of fires in its wake and destroying some of the homes in its path. Now, where this is located, this is Spain, this is Morocco, here's the Canary Islands, this is La Palma here. There's residents, about 80,000 people. And like I mentioned, this first erupted back in, they had a bigger eruption actually back in 1971, and then it erupted again yesterday. And that sent a lot of fears. There was a lot of questions and a lot of stuff flying around on the internet and stuff like that. What's the possibility of what actually could happen if something like that actually happened? So, I mean, before that, we had 22,000 tremors. I mean, there were a lot of tremors. So there was a lot of indications that this was going to blow, and it definitely did. I mean, it sent molten lava, and there's still lava that's flowing down off that volcano, and it's expected to continue for at least several more weeks, if not a couple months. Like I mentioned, there were 22,000 tremors had ahead of it, and what triggered it, they had about a 3.8 earthquake, and that's what actually really kind of sent the lava flowing off into the sky and sending it flowing down the mountain. But here's the latest update of what's happening. There's about 80,000 people that live on the island. About 55,000 people were evacuated when this happened. Like I mentioned, it destroyed about 100 homes in its path, but fortunately there were no injuries or no fatalities or anything like this to speak of. And then it's still open for tourism. So it's really not that bad. I mean, it's almost equivalent to maybe possibly a forest fire that happened. And it's going to continue to happen. There's going to be lava flowing down off the mountain for, like I mentioned, several weeks, if not a couple of months ahead. So the fear was, if this was actually going to happen, that little island that I showed you could possibly like break off and throw off into the Atlantic, sending this huge mega tsunami wave and coming across the Atlantic and have some like 650 mile per hour, 650 mile per hour, and then ascending like a 50-meter tsunami. That's just not going to happen. I mean, this is totally debunked, and I showed you right now. I mean, it's just the possibilities. Sure, if something like can it happen? I mean, sure, like anything's possible. The probability of something like that happening are like very slim to none. It's basically maybe the equivalent of a meteor like hitting your house. Okay, so it's definitely something that not to lose sleep over. Right now, there's 5,500 residents that are evacuated. There's no fatalities. It's open for tourism. It's going to continue flowing lava. It's definitely something that I wouldn't be technically that worried about, but I wanted to address the situation because I've been getting a lot of comments in my news feed, and what my thoughts were, should I be concerned on the East Coast? And I would say definitely not. There's nothing to be concerned about of no tsunami potentially coming. So we got some snow to talk about. I mean, if you were kind of following me, we talked about Larry. Now, Larry was interesting because it actually went up to Nova Scotia, but more importantly, it dumped a blizzard in Greenland, like 5 feet of snow. Well, that was a couple of weeks ago, right? But that actually set the tone for some colder air to filter all the way down. And then yesterday, not yesterday, but a couple days ago, that cold front was up in British Columbia, dumping some heavier snow in Whistler. So there's a famous ski resort up there, and it was very nice to see their first good snowfall of the season, and that was indication of that strong cold front that's actually moving through the U.S. Right now. And then it continued through this weekend, and this was Mount Rainier. So Mount Rainier up in Washington, it actually had another 5 feet at the summit. At the summit, it actually snowed about 5 feet over the weekend. So that laid some nice powder for them up there. And it just continued down into Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming over the weekend. And this is some beautiful winter white wonderland scenery that happened out there with some very heavy snow. And yeah, it's just a sign of things to come. The season is definitely changing. And we've got a strong cold front that's moving through, and a lot of you guys have been waiting on this cold front. We've actually been talking about it for about a week now. The timing hasn't changed. It's just it hasn't gotten here yet. And then now most of you guys are starting to feel it. And in fact, it's actually moving through Dallas and North Texas currently right now. But back behind it, there was the observed snowfall. I mean, so this was talked about that portions of Idaho was going to see some snow, Montana was going to see some snow, Wyoming was going to see some snow, as well as portions of Colorado. So those 4 states have definitely seen the snow with this cold front as this continues through. And this was also talked about yesterday, that with compressional heating ahead of this cold front, we could have some record heat and near record heat. And that definitely came to fruition in Texas as well as Oklahoma. So we had a lot of records, even some records. I know Dallas hit 100, parts of West Texas 104. Some of these were your hottest temperatures of the year. It's been fairly mild in Texas. I mean, Del Rio hit 106. So yeah, they had to wait all the way to the last official day of before fall starts to be able to get some of your hottest temperatures of the season. But now these are the observed temperatures currently this morning when I'm making this video. That's why they have those freeze watches and warnings in place, because yes, some of these areas in Colorado and Montana here are definitely below freezing this morning. So this is definitely a chill in the air, and that continues through. And you can definitely see where the cold front is in Kansas and Oklahoma. It's passed by the Panhandle. It's knocking on the door of North Texas. I mean, if actually your high today was 86, that happened at midnight last night. And then now it's going to be falling temperatures throughout the day with that welcome relief and a 20-degree drop of what you actually saw yesterday. But out ahead of it, we've got some storms to talk about and some heavier rain out ahead of this front. And unfortunately, there's not much rain to speak of into parts of the Metroplex. It's going to be very sporadic, but there's a lot more moisture to work with the further north you go. But definitely some heavier rain, if not some stronger storms, they're going to be contending with. And portions of Kentucky here into Tennessee, as well as Indiana, and portions of Ohio, as well as Michigan today. Out ahead of that cold front, we've got a lot of instability, and they're going to be looking for some strong to severe thunderstorms and some heavier rains at time as this continues moving through. But notice what's behind the front. Not much. It's crystal clear skies and a lot of low humidity and low dew point. So it's going to just feel like fall. Yes, it's going to feel like fall in a big way. And everybody's going to get into the action. And really, the only people that miss out is more or less central Florida and southern Florida. But a good chunk, I mean, 90% of the country is going to be able to feel the effects of this cold front as it continues moving through. There's the setup on Wednesday. There's the cold front, passes all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, passes all the way through Louisiana, through Mississippi, through Arkansas. So yeah, there's that colder air as it continues through. Before that, out ahead of it, yeah, there's your heavier rains in parts of the Carolinas and West Virginia and Pennsylvania. We'll start seeing some of those heavier rains out ahead of it. And yes, it just more clearing back behind that front. And yes, as we take you through the day on Thursday here, kind of the same deal. That cold front continues moving across. Everybody gets in the action. Alabama, Georgia, even South Carolina will start feeling the effects of this cold front. The Florida Panhandle will start feeling the effects of this cold front. And now it's traversing into the Northeast, and that's where the heavier rains are going to be falling on Thursday along the I-95 corridor, getting into Jersey, New York City, as this would continue throughout the day with some heavier, some strong to severe. Right now, it's just marginal storms as this would continue pressing off. There's Peter. It's not going to be a threat to land because that cold front is going to safely keep it out to sea. So that's definitely not going to be an issue for the U.S. But man, look what happens on Friday. Everybody just feels the effects of that cold front. So back behind it, we've got a lot of clearing and a good solid 3 days of some pretty nice, almost chilly weather for September standards. Feeling the effects for a good chunk of the country. And this is Friday's lows. This is Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll feel the effects in much of the South. It starts to modify a little bit as that colder air will continue to press, but widespread 40s into the Ohio Valley, into Kentucky and West Virginia here, even getting into parts of the Carolinas. So everybody's going to be feeling the effects of this cold front in a big way, and not just feeling the effects of the cold front, but back behind it, there's less humidity, lower dew points, and it's just going to feel patio weather is coming, guys, and it's on the table. And for the next 3 days, definitely enjoy, because this, man, it doesn't really get any better than this. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.